Good afternoon, guys. We are here for day one of the Sapphire Insurance King of the Sea Classic held out of Kumula Beach Hotel, KZN South Coast. We have got something special coming from our Grassfoot studio as we live stream to different anglers on the water today. You can see the clarity of the water is really cleaned up overnight. It's absolutely stunning, really nice and clean, and it's all up the coast, up to about sort of Park, any area it starts getting a bit dirty off of Hibbereen and Kumula. It is really nice and clean. The swell is still cranking quite a bit down south as we go moving into a lower tide. Banks are starting to show as well. This morning at about 6-7 o'clock was when the guys were launching, and that was on a full high. And as the tide has slowly started to move out towards a full low, you're starting to see those swells really crank on the banks and that sort of thing down south.
It really cleaned up incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
It was like mud in front here, and it's like, no one said crystal, but compared to yesterday.
Jeez,
we had Craig guys coming to come
in this morning.
Yeah.
No, and it's actually flattened out. So this morning was pretty hairy from a launching perspective. The conditions changed totally, almost totally overnight. So there was still that lazy sort of swell direction from the southwest side, but unfortunately, opposed to yesterday, as yesterday was predictable. You could look down the beach 600, 700, 800 meters down the beach, and you could predict while sitting in the hole, while launching, you could actually predict where your set was coming from. So you could actually pick your gap from a long way out. This morning, it was just these big closeout sets running across the bay, making it really difficult.
Even the swell, even when you were if you had been with the swell, it was predictable as well. So you could have. A lot of yesterday's you could have nipped around, but today it was closing out.
There was nowhere to move.
There was no longer.
We're going to bring Byron in quickly because he has got an incredible catch. I'm not too sure where they are. BK, where are you guys?
How's it, guys? Yeah, we're just on the move. We're traveling, getting back down south. We were on the inside. We managed to get some decent bait this morning. Got a couple of mackerel. We worked the inside the whole morning, and it's been a bit quiet. But we managed to hook one wahoo on the inside just as we were packing up. We just wanted the bait a bit faster as we were winding them in, and we went on. So we managed to get that out. But otherwise, very quiet on the inside. So we just decided to move a bit deeper now. We're going to come in on the Protea line, just to the north of Protea, and then look to work our way down towards Protea with the line baits. We don't get sharks, and maybe we can find a bigger tuna or maybe a kuta or who in the deep end.
How big is it, wahoo? How big do you reckon that wahoo is?
Sorry, just say it again.
I said, how big is that wahoo? Do you reckon you could give us a look? Show it to us.
Yeah, just we'll have a quick look. It's not a bust, but it's a reasonable fish. I think probably maybe about 15 kilos around there. Let's have a quick look at it.
Let's have a look. Hold it up for us. Come on, Kizzy.
Have a quick squiz in the bag, and not meant to show off your prizes before they hit the scales. But
just push the squiz on the side.
A beautiful day in the water. There's a big clean patch of water here that we were fishing in, so the conditions were good. But just very little bites on the inside. We had really good baits. Live mackerel, so we've been trawling for about 3 hours with no bites. Just thought, let's just change it up a little bit. As you said, the tide's turning low now. It looks like a little bit of a bite's come on. So it's quite a decent fish. Probably I'd guesstimate about 14, 15, somewhere around there.
Come, Kazi, get it out the bag. Get it out the bag. Give us a bit of a pose. Hold it close to the camera so it looks bigger.
You guys are killing me, man. You're killing me here.
Come on, man. We know you hate a photo.
There you go.
Here we go, Daddy. There we go.
Yeah, definitely looks about 9 or 10.
Lovely fish, man. Nice. Okay, lovely one. Who ran for the rod first?
Sorry?
Who ran for the rod first?
Yeah, I was actually winding the baits in, so you smacked me right at the back. and it was right behind the boat. So obviously he wanted that bait going a bit faster. I think he was probably watching it for about half an hour. And again, it's just like, don't tighten your drag just because you're winding in, because he absolutely smoked it. He smoked it and he screamed off across the top. I mean, and luckily, as I said, my drag was still set. Set, so it was quite loose, and I just slacked off. It was epic in the shallows as well. So yeah, very lucky. Bit of a fluke, but we'll take it. You got to make your luck.
Yeah, 100%. We put in the effort, the luck will come. But that's awesome. But so you guys headed down towards Shelley now, eh?
Yeah, we're going to go a little bit deeper onto the deeper lines, and then because we've got some good lavies, so we got some lekker live mackerel. So we don't want to be hitting the beach with it. So yeah, we're gonna go and puzzle a bit in the deep here and see if we can't pick up a decent tuna, or maybe even a hoo or another kucha in the deep.
Yeah, for sure. All right, but well, hey, good luck. Thanks for crossing, and good luck, Chana.
No, lekker boys. Yeah, the sea is definitely getting better. Swell's dropping, so tomorrow morning I think it's going to be good as well before the west.
Yeah. Any advice for any guys that are still out there now, BK? What would you suggest?
Yeah, you're going to have to fish into the afternoon now. If you're on the inside, I think we've had the turn of the low now, so it's going to be a little bit tough. But it'll start pushing at about 3-4. So if you're close to the launch, you don't have to travel too far to get to weigh in. I'd say with the swell dropping, it could get a little bit better on the inside. And there's clean patch. There's a nice big clean patch, off Pumula. So I think definitely it's worth sticking it out. I think there might be a little bit of a bite on that, just on the later time in the day. I think we've just gone over low now. It looks like there's a few bites all over now, and we're just hoping it's going to stay on now and into the afternoon. So we're going to go deeper. We're on the boats, obviously we can travel a bit. We're going to go out and pick up that line. Yeah, we were we got that fish just by Pumula. So
lovely.
We're going to we're working our way back down now. We're going to start north of Shoal and then work our way onto the Shoal. Oh, not the Shoal, sorry, onto Protea.
Nice, bro. Good luck.
Okay. Cheers, boys. We'll catch you later.
Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
Oh, that was lekker.
Awesome fish, eh? What a lovely fish. And Braden himself enjoys a bit of game fishing and has caught his fair share of really good fish as well. So,
like you said, who would have gone for the rod? If Byron hadn't had that thing in his hand, Braden would have been grabbing it.
I'm surprised that one of them is wet from being very shoulder charged off the boat there. But
it doesn't. It doesn't sound like it's crazy. It's not wild out there.
No. There's one thing
talking about wild.
Yeah.
Got Brad here from Wild Coolers. Brad, welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having us, guys. Pleasure to be a part of it.
We had to really drag Brad here onto the camera. He wasn't keen, but now that he's here, he's well set. He can't get away. Tell us a little bit about Wild Coolers and what we've got here. This is examples of the prizes we're giving away. Hey. So
yes,
this soft coolers and the prizes, the soft bar coolers, and this is the
Wild 20.
This is the Wild 20. This is the prize up for it's a little comp within a comp. So it's a secret. You've got to guess the secret weight. The weight is in the envelope, signed and sealed from the Wild Coolers guys. So no one knows what that is. And you've got to go onto the Wild Coolers page and you guess the weight and guess the fish. And it's just a random weight. So it's not even related to fish that are being weighed in here, but it just ties in with the comp and ties in with the fish that are being caught. And the cool thing about this little competition, it's not just the anglers and the guests here. It's anyone who's watching our broadcast here can jump in and join in the fun and obviously kind of join in the competition as well. So that all you need to do is just jump onto the Wild Coolers page, which is wildcoolers.com, and then you go to pages and competition, and then you can find all the details in there, nice and easy to enter.
Do that on our Facebook.
We'll pop that all on our Facebook page now. I'll just copy and paste that on there, so you can just check in the feed. Tell us a little bit about these. This is the Wild Coolers.
Yeah, sure. 100%, guys. So we've got the two different ranges. We've got those soft shell coolers. They're lovely. They actually got a beautiful little bin liner inside. So in case you spill your beer accidentally, no one does it on purpose. But this can be removed, easily cleaned as well. Lovely for your everyday, take it to the boat with you, going to the park, picnic. And then you got your Wild Coolers hard shell range. That's your big boy. That's your how do I put it? You want to put it in your will. You buy a cooler box, it's going to last you for life. You know, it's proudly South African and locally manufactured for the African environment. You know, they're UV resistant, so your blue doesn't fade over time. Your red doesn't go pink over the days in the sun. So whether you're catching a tan or catching fish, your cooler box will keep your beers and your ice cold and frozen for a very extended period of time.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, no, they're exceptionally durable. They polyurethane foam throughout, sides, bottom, top, lid, all over the show. Your ice stays frozen. You never have to worry about a 40-degree heat day and your beer is going slightly room temperature. In the UK, like drinking it. Speaking of which, we also have extended our range as well.
Is that the...
Yes, that's our utility mugs over there, correct? Yes, yeah. So your cold stays cold and your hot stays hot, guys. They're coming in a wonderful range of colors, blues, pinks for the ladies. Some guys might want to get involved in the pink as well, stick out in the crowd.
Not with those rods you got on.
No, lovely, man, lovely. Yeah, so pop onto our webpage, have a squiz. Like I mentioned, it is proudly South African, and it's built for the African environment. You know, for your avid outdoorsman. And
you're going to be here all weekend, so if guys want to come and chat to you about the brand, they can.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, don't forget that competition, guys. It's we've popped it in the comments there, so you can just jump on that link and join in. It's open to everyone, not just the competitors. So share with your friends, and then it gets more people involved in the Sapphire Insurance King of the Sea as well.
Yeah, 100%. And a word from a couple of our other sponsors. So just one of the guys that supports a lot of our events, Grant Campbell from Campbell Properties. They've also started coming and infiltrating into the South Coast here as well. I saw a couple of signs down here the other day. So if you're looking for any property, whether it's north, south, inland, new developments, you're wanting to buy some ground, get hold of Campbell Properties. And also if you're obviously selling any of your properties or any of your houses, get hold of Campbell Property Group. They are phenomenal. They've been doing so well in the property game at the moment. Grant's a great guy. And his team are absolutely phenomenal. Unfortunately,
you can't get hold of him though. You're fishing.
Yeah. But you'll be able to get hold of the Campbell officers there, and they're great on the ball, and they really are making some amazing inroads into the property game at the moment. They're phenomenal. So massive thanks to Campbell Property Groups there. I picked up some of this sun cream from Spa earlier, and slept on solar sunscreen. I was pleasantly surprised, I must admit. For myself, it's got a bit of a fairer skin, bit of a daywalker setup here. This solar sun protection, it's a UV 50, SPF 50, sorry. And it actually smells really nice and applies really nicely as well. Spreads quite nicely. Really, really nice sun cream. So check that out, the solar range of sun creams from Spa South Africa, another one of our sponsors that we'd just like to thank. So, guys, the launches this morning, I was at Heberdean and Brendan was at Njambili. We were saying earlier on that it changed completely overnight, pretty much. That swell direction was the only thing same, but the sets were just these big closeout sets as opposed to yesterday where it was a hell of a lot more predictable. These massive closeout sets closing out the whole day at Heberdean. And it was a good, some of those sets, I don't know, Cam, 6 to 8 foot, I'd say. They were sizes, big breaks between the sets. The problem was that they were rolling so hard on that full high tide. They were rolling so hard into that zone where you're going to be sitting with your boat that the foamies were quite big to punch. And what was happening is a lot of those guys were actually getting water back into their boats, which was making that boat heavy and weighing it down. So the motors weren't able to give it enough thrust to the surf zone effectively enough, and some of the guys got a bit caught up to no fault of theirs. It was simply wrong place, wrong time. We've got one or two videos here from Heberdean. We can talk over this, Ken. Yeah. So this was one of the guys. This was the very first launch as we arrived at the beach. They had just hit a big wave just before this, and you can see that thing cranking behind them.
He did exactly the right thing because he had nothing, he had nowhere to go.
1,000%.
So all he just turned and he had to get. There was only way to go was back on that.
Yeah.
Brilliant skipper.
And so it was a Heberdean Club comp as well, and tomorrow, and they had all family and friends on the beach there as well of the skippers that were skippering the boats to lend a hand and to help where they could. And I tell you what, those guys, that specific boat did a loop, it punched a wave, obviously took on a bit of water, then it did another loop and punched even bigger wave and took on more water, and then it just started like kind of sagging and listing and whatnot. And then he tried to get the water out, and then he realized, hey, listen, there's something that's going to catch me, and he just burnt it for the shore. But the moment he hit the sand, everyone clapped, like good move, And I said to him, his shame, his wife, I think, hurt her finger a bit there, but I said to him, it takes just as much skill to get through to safely beach and know when you're a bit outgunned out there in the surf zone, and beach safely and get your crew back safely, as it does to actually get through the surf and get out fishing. So to you guys, I mean, I know the guys, the South Coast Oaks, especially Hebridean, know what they're doing down here with regards to launching and whatnot. It was on display this morning because there were some hairy launches. The guys that did get out, 100%. But I was impressed even more that the guys that actually got into a bit of trouble, but got the first thing on their mind was their crew. Yeah. It doesn't matter what happens to the boat. Get the crew back safely. Get on the beach and get out of harm's way as soon as possible. A fish is never worth a laugh. So these guys definitely had made the right calls there.
We had a couple of close calls there as well, and same thing. There's a lovely area to sit and wait, and then those sets were closing out a little bit to the left of that, and then the one boat was a camera boat. Actually, they got a little bit caught there, punched it perfectly, did everything right, because that stall really closed out on them, and he just turned. That's the important thing. As soon as you turn your vessel a little bit to the side onto a wave, you're done. If you're pointing at it, you've got the best chance possible. Sometimes you'll flip it, obviously, but he managed. You could just see he even went right up like this, came down nicely on the other side, and that then cut his fuel line out. So he had to come back in on the beach. The crew were in there, chained him up, pulled him out. Everyone was safe. No one hurt, and that's the important thing. No one was hurt. And then the other one was the jet ski cable snap. No one's fault again. He had tested the ski out before. We watched, we sat, we waited. We got a perfect little gap in the shore break, popped out, and then next he was stuck. And I was shouting, turn from the beach, and all they could hear was us shouting, turn, and they couldn't. And they ended up going around the rocks a bit. And sure, just by the grace of God, I guess they managed to get in, and there was a big swell coming in with it, and it washed them over the rocks up into where you wouldn't.
Dodged all the rocks and over
the rocks, obviously
a
little bit scraped over the gully, and avoided that pounding. I mean, it's again, skippers thinking quick on the water. You can't panic. You just got to think quick and do the best possible route in whatever scenario you're in.
The thing is with any of those launches, I mean, there's a couple of tips that you've always got to remember in those scenarios, and it was on, like I said, it was on display at Hebridean today. But keeping that nose into the swell, even if you don't have much thrust, your best possible chance of not flipping if you're in a situation is keeping your nose or your bow heading straight.
Even if you feel you're getting pounded, you'll keep getting pounded and pounded over. As long as you're pointed into that, you've got a very good chance of just keep popping over unless the wave breaks on top of the bow.
And just taking on water, it's as soon as you start feeling that you've got no power in your vessel, it's a really tough place to be when you're in the surf zone and you feel that you're underpowered. So the first thing is, I mean, panic sets in immediately, because you're like, oh geez, what's going on here? And the motors aren't working like they should. Maybe one motor's off. Whatever. As soon as you hit that first wave and you're losing that power, it's easier to say. I'm not judging it. It's easy to say now. We're just trying to go through tips for guys in the future. But to try and think on your feet a little bit, take a bit of a breath before the next wave hits, if it is coming. Look behind you and see if you have taken on water. Because if you have taken on water, immediately in your mind, you've got to think, well, I've got to get back to the beach. Because if I'm going to take this next wave on, I'm going to fill up. And by that stage, you've got hundreds of liters in your boats. And there's very few boats, especially if you're on a smaller craft, that can take that. In the situation today, I mean, I would have done the exact same thing. You're in a panic. You've got no thrust. You've got nothing to get you through that surf zone. By not criticize what those guys did today, because they got their crew back safely. At the end of the day, there's nothing. You want to say what he did wrong, I don't. Whatever you say, I don't care. You got to screw back safely. It's amazing.
The thing is, at the end of the day, the sea always wins, and
Yeah.
and it can be, the sea can be on its head, but the little things can happen in the smallest little sections where the power behind those waves, even once they're on the shore break, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So, like you say, you're up against the beast there. So you just got to do the reasonably best you can do in the situation, and that's why it's good to talk about these things. And like you say, it's easy enough to talk about it here and not put it into practice. But the more you talk about it, and the more you drum it into your own head,
Hopefully,
hopefully,
second nature.
you'll think quicker when you're out on the water. And that's really what it is. So sometimes those split milliseconds that can change things for you.
Yeah. A massive thank you to one of our local sponsors, Kencrete, Ready Mix Cement. These guys have been on as a part of the Sapphire Insurance King of the Sea Classic almost since its inception, I think. Massive thank you to Clint and his team at Kencrete. To Roller Tank South Africa, we've got an awesome competition this weekend where it's a guess the literage competition. So there's a tank outside of the front of the reception area here at Pumula Beach Hotel, and you guys are able to come through. There's an arrow on the top of the tank or near the top of the tank, and you've got to guess literage. Whoever gets closest to that mark wins the tank. I think it's a 2.5 or 3,000 litre tank. It's quite a sizable one.
Pictures onto our Instagram pages and that stuff.
And I mean, Roller Tank guys as well. We explained last night they've got involved a hell of a lot in the recent floods and whatnot, and in the past as well. They're a company that really gives back to their community as well. So, guys, these are the companies that you need to support. They're also supporting the sport that we love. So, a massive thanks to Roller Tank South Africa and Henrik and Tracy and their team.
Just another shout out to another sponsor who's been with us also from the beginning is Paul Dawson. Paul Dawson is skipper training. Paul basically oversees our safety. So Paul's here as our man to turn to in a crisis. And we've had a few incidents over the years, nothing too serious, fortunately, but Paul's always there on the water, sorting it out, getting it under control, obviously in tow with NSRI. This morning we had Paul take the camera crew out, and again, it's just a guy like Paul. Paul runs skipper's training. We've done both of us did our skipper's training through Paul. The guy's brilliant. He puts you into a situation that's real, and I mean it's actually a really fun course. You're writing the boats, and he knows his stuff. And Paul is a brilliant skipper and a brilliant skipper trainer. I mean, Paul went out with the camera crew there. We popped him on the beach, and it just shows like the experience he has. He was just scaring Chad, the cameraman, a bit before. He said, if you go on my boat, you know you're going to get wet, you know you're going to do this. He was all just winding him up. And he popped that boat on the water and literally just said to the guys, there's my gap, let's go. Popped it, and he was gone out, straight up. He knew exactly what to do, where the gap was coming, and he was gone. And it's good to have a guy like that with that experience teaching you. Yeah. That's important.
So tomorrow we've got a little bit of a west that's going to be picking up. I don't know how early. It looks like it's picking up quite early tomorrow morning. It gets up to what's predicted about 10 to 14 knots gusting. So it's not too bad. Still probably going to be fishable. And guys, the comp's wide open at the moment. There's not too many big fish that have been caught. So you can still enter for tomorrow if you want and fish Sundays. Day we're going to be going until what time? 1 o'clock tomorrow. About 12, 1 I think weigh-in is. It's all on the Facebook page. You can check out the rules. So you can still get your entries in for tomorrow, and we've got the Cray guys as well that are partaking in the crayfish comp currently. And what time that weigh-in close?
That weigh-in's we're going to close it a little bit later. Though we said 1 o'clock or 1:30. We left it a bit open because the conditions haven't been great for those guys. But and
then we've got some festivities this afternoon as well.
Yeah,
seafood bras, live music.
Something else I was about to say. I can't remember what it was. In terms of the weather tomorrow, we're never going to put anyone out on the water if we think it's unsafe. But it looks okay. There's a west picking up. So we might have the cut-off times a little bit earlier. But if you're on a boat or a jet ski, you'll be hundreds. On a kayak, probably the best thing to do is maybe a little bit of a downwind. So you start somewhere south. And maybe start somewhere south and come in here at Pumula and come beach at Pumula where we all are, And with that west, often in those in that wind pushing, that's when the fish are biting.
100%. Yeah.
So just because the conditions are a little bit rough doesn't mean, in fact, polar conditions don't always mean good fishing.
Yeah. No, exactly. All right. I think that's it for the stream.
Thanks, Brad.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having us, guys.
Thanks, Brad. Yeah, appreciate it. And guys, we'll probably do another stream a little bit later.
If we've got time, we find ourselves running around a bit.
Yeah, we'll definitely have 1 or 2 live streams from down at the weigh-in when the fish start coming through. So watch out for that link, guys. Massive thank you to Sapphire Insurance for having our Sapphire Insurance King of the Sea Classic here at Pumula Beach Hotel. And we'll see you in a few.
Back at the Glassford studio.